scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a scrap therapy layout using the Cocoa Daisy Doodles and Dashes collection. You can see I have two very different photos here that were taken just about 24 hours apart. And I'm telling a story about something that I just needed to get off my chest, and I decided to really emphasize the black and white in the Cocoa Daisy Doodles and Dashes collection for this layout. So I'm starting with these tags that were actually from, I think, the Peach Ridge collection that I still had in my stash, plus some frames from the Doodles and Dashes collection, and I'm creating two tags to put my photos on. So I want them to sort of mirror each other, so I'm using these stickers from the memory keeping sticker subscription and creating bases for these photos on the tags, and then I am putting the frames over it, and of course I ripped the frame because that's how I roll. So I'm just going to piece it back together. No big deal. In fact, I thought to myself, oh, I'll just cover it up with something later, and I don't even think I end up doing that, and nobody's ever gonna know. They're never gonna know. But now that I've got these done, what I want to do is create a layout or create a background using all of this beautiful black and white stuff from the collection. So I pulled out all of the black and white florals and leaves, and I'm going to start with some stamping, and I'm actually going to start with some stamping that I don't like, which is this solid stamping. It just didn't quite come out the way I wanted it to. I'm going to add some not solid stamping. There are two different stamps in this stamp set. One is solid dots, one is outline dots. They're the same dots, so you can sort of layer them over each other, but it didn't end up looking the way that I wanted it to for this page. So all I'll do is, once I've decided, yeah, no, that's not working, I'm just gonna flip the page over and start over again and just use the outline dots rather than the solid dots. And I'm just randomly working here and putting random dots all over the place, and then I'm going to work the embellishments around the dots. I had no plan, just went with what worked. So I'm going to start with the rub-ons because next to stamping, the rub-ons need to go down next, or first, second, I suppose. So I'm going to start there. And of course, rub-ons take a minute, so we sped this up quite a bit so that you wouldn't have to slowly watch me put all these down. I wanted to use that quote that says, trying to keep my mind right, my soul straight, and my heart heart strong, because I thought that was an appropriate sort of scrap therapy quote. So I put that down first, and now I'm working the rest of these embellishments around the edges. You can see it's coming together really easily. It's just, I'm sort of just like piecing everything together like a jigsaw puzzle, making sure that there's no unnecessary spaces between any of these rub-ons. I wanted to use up all of these little curly cues because I wasn't sure, they just worked so perfectly in this context. I wasn't sure that I would find a different context where they would work as well. So I decided to use this glassine bag that had some embellishments in it from the collection, and I'm going to trim it down so that it's not quite as large, but I'm going to put my tags in here. And I will say that later on, after I'd finished this layout, I do go through and make this bag a little bit smaller. I don't make the bag itself smaller, but I make the pocket part smaller by adding in some double-sided tape rails on the inside so that the pockets or the tags stay in the pocket better, because they were very loose when I finished this page and they were sort of falling out every time I flipped the page. So I just fixed it by making it less loose. So there's that. I tried to punch out a little circle from this glassine bag with this. Didn't work out so well, so I'm just going to take my scissors and go around the edges, and it worked just fine. Okay, so now I need to build the rest of this page, and I really wanted to add this good, bad, ugly on top of the glassine bag, and I am going to incorporate a little bit of color here and there because I'm going to use one of the Traveler's Notebook size cards from the Traveler's Notebook kit on the right hand side, and it has some color in it. So I'm going to incorporate a little bit of color here and there. The layout is going to be mainly black and white, but you will see how, because I incorporated just little bits and bobs of color like in that floral, it really sets the whole black and white theme off really well. Okay, so now I'm going to take the rest of this chipboard and these black and white leaves, and I'm going to scatter them in this cluster that I have made on the left-hand side of this page. So I really want the leaves to sort of look like they are falling down around the cluster. So that is sort of what I'm doing here, what I'm trying to accomplish. I put the tags back in so that I can work around them. And I'm just sort of making it look right, like they were incorporated in there from the beginning and I'm not adding them in afterwards. I want them to be a part of the composition, not in addition to the competition or composition, if that makes sense. So I'm just sort of scattering them around, trying to make it work around where those tags are going to go. And once I settle on placement, then I'm going to stick them all down. I want to add the days of the week onto these tags with this really cool alphabet that I love and I hope that we get more of in the future. So I'm going to put Monday on this tag and Wednesday on the other tag because the story tells, or the journaling that I'm including tells the story about how quickly my mood changed in relation to the drama that was going on. So I really wanted to make sure I emphasize the days of the week on the tags themselves. And then I decided to add some washi stickers to the tags as well, just to incorporate a little bit more color on the left-hand side in an easy way. Gonna add some floral die cuts, or at least one here, because it was cute and perfect and framed that Wednesday wonderfully. There we go. Now I need to add one over here as well because they have to match. Everything always has to match and mirror. That's just how I roll. Okay, so I'm getting about done here with this side. I feel like I need to add something in that blank space down on the bottom right of this page because I felt like it was just a little bit too blank down there. It was okay to be a little bit blank at the top because that's where the tags were going, but the bottom felt like it needed something down there in the bottom or in the corner. I didn't want to add any more words in because I was adding a lot of words to the right hand side of the spread. I added these ribbons to the tag, but I felt like in the end they were too much. They were too much color for this layout, so I end up taking them out before the layout is done. And I added in this die cut of these leaves. I thought that that fit perfectly. And I pulled off that chipboard and rearranged it. Okay, so this side is about done. Let's start working on the right-hand side. So I'm going to start with this background paper that is mostly black and white with little pops of color, and then this card that says restart, refocus, readjust, reset, refocus, readjust, restart as many times as you need to with that beautiful color blocking on it. I was going to use this tag, but instead I go with a black and white tag as a base for my journaling that I'm going to print out. I'm creating a pocket out of this big journal card by creating rails with double-sided tape. There we go. Everything is secured along the edges except for at the very top where I'm going to slide that tag in and out. Not that tag, a different tag. I initially start building on this tag, but it's not quite the look I'm going for. So I'm going to take it out and I'm going to measure it for my journaling, and then I'm going to switch tags all together. Add my journaling to the black and white tag instead. It's just printed out journaling, some taken from my Facebook. And then I am just about done with this layout. All right, see, now you can see the black and white tag and it has the story on it. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. If you're interested in subscribing to Cocoa Daisy, there is a link in the description box below. All right, thank you.